Hi, welcome to my channel Takniki Gyan Guru. Today we will cover how to create EC2 instances, and on top of that we will create a elastic load balancer manual way, right? So we'll create two Ubuntu box, and top of that we will create a elastic load balancer. So elastic load balancer has multiple um, type of load balancer. So the AWS provide elastic load balancer where it has on the classic load balancer, application load balancer, network load balancer. So we'll talk about network load balancer here, right? So we will not compare all these three load balancer, but we will implement only network load balancer today. So for these steps to build a EC2 instance and elastic load balancer, we would also require some application inside the Ubuntu box so that we can access the application through the load balancer, right? So how we'll do? So let's understand first how we can do this. Some high level steps. So we will create two instance EC2 instance, that will be operating system will be Ubuntu, right? The second step will be we will install HTTP server inside the Ubuntu, each Ubuntu box, so that some web application, static application, maybe index file we will store, and then we will access from the outside. So maybe we will check from the machine, is it accessible, and then definitely we'll access through the load balancer. So after that, the third step is create network load balancer. So we will create a network load balancer, and then we will configure this network load balancer. So in the configuration we have to configure the security group, your BPC subnet. So the reason where we have to deploy this load balancer, and other stuffs like in which port we want to access from outside. The next is create target group. So target group is basically your instances, right? So we have to create a target group. That target group will be link between your load balancer to your EC2 instances, right? So we have to configure that target. We have to configure the target group, and how we'll configure, we have to provide all these EC2 instance and which port they will access, and we'll check the health check whether if some of the EC2 instance doesn't work, then how it will give you the error, right? How many times it will check for health. So this kind of configuration we have to you know made into the configure the target group, and then we will register the target group. Means the some of the EC2 instances, there are multiple instances we can target, like the application load balancer instances, or lambda functions. So a lot of instances we can you know register, not instance, even the serverless, as I said, um, the lambda function also can be integrated within this load balancer. And so once it is done, then we will test the web application that is hosted inside each of the Ubuntu box through the load balancer. So how we will check? We'll check HTTP colon the IP address or the DNS name. So DNS name maybe we can say DNS name it will be given. So EC2 instance, the application load, the network load balancer, we will create the external access, right? So now we understood the concept. Now we'll go for the demo. So we have already logged into AWS console. Now you can search EC2. So no EC2 instance is running. Let's create. So EC2 is created. Now see the two server is getting created. Let's log in one by one. If you can see, these two machines are running. So let's move to the console and run one by one. Now we are in command prompt. Let's check dir. Okay, the PAM file is there. Let me copy the one of the IP address. This one, ssh I pgg.pam ubuntu at the rate and your machine name. Enter it. Yes. Okay, it is asking for permission. We need to change the permission. Now I have given the access. Now run it again. Now it's run. So how the PAM file in Windows, how we can give access to the PAM file is we need to remove all the inherited access and then give only the logged in user access to the PAM file. If you do, I have already explained the last video in the previous video, but if you are unable to do that, please comment. I'll definitely come back with some solution. Sudo apt install Apache 2. HTTPD also called Apache 2. So say yes. Starting. Let's call local host. You can see some website is already installed. This side is installed, right? So we can access this one using 805. So one of the Ubuntu is set up. Let's log into another Ubuntu and do the same thing. Now we are in browser. Let's check these web server is accessible. The Apache server is accessible from this machine. So click one of the address and put into the browser. Let's say one of the EC2 machine has the Apache installed, and click the other IP address, and this in this machine is also Apache installed. So now let's go and create the load balancer. So I do not have load balancer target group. So you can either create a target group first or create from load balancer. So if you want to create a load balancer, there are three type of load balancer: application load balancer, network load balancer, and gateway load balancer. So we'll not talk about the application load balancer and gateway load balancer. We'll talk about the network, and we will set up this network load balancers. Then click on the network load balancer, and then give a name: web app nlb. It should be internet facing and IP4. Now we have only one security group, this one, ed E8DA, and the mapping, the subnet should be this region, South AP1B, because this in this region our EC2 machine is hosted. So let's check the EC2 machine. Go to here and go to your instance, and you can see the availability zone is AP South 1B, right? So within the same, right, your instance is in the region, the same region, you have to host your load balancer. This one, turn, and this is the security group. uh, so why this security group? I have added the security group. These security group can access each other. So how we can do, we will I'll let you know how we can do this. And this listening port is 80, so this load balancer can be accessed in 80 port. Now default action, we need to give the target group name. So click on target group, right? So your target group should be associated with this load balancer, right? Then that is will work. So so we can create target group in the two different ways. So one of the different ways, we can come from the load balancer, or one of the we can direct go to the target group and create it, and then again later we can associate. So here we have to give some basic configuration where what kind of target group we have, the instances, IP address, lambda function, and application load balancer. Because we have hosted our application in Ubuntu, so we will use the instances, right? And target group name, say web app tg, web app target group tg, and in which port we want to access 80. So we have hosted our application in 80 port, right? So we will access through 80 only, and this will check our application through 80 port only. IP address, obviously IPv4, we are not using IPv6. And VPC, we have VPC the same, right? Both the same. VPC, the EC2 and the load balancer. Now the health check. What the health check is, it continuously ping our EC2 machine and check whether the machine is accessible or not. If in any reason it is failed, then it will give you the target group is not healthy. Or if you're deleting someone, then it will say it is draining, right? And if everything is working, that will say the status is green, right? So healthy, correct? And this is slash, why we should slash means on the root port, right? If you have application inside the http as localhost slash xyz slash something, then you have to give the sub folder name over here also. In the advanced setting, let's check health check. How our health check works, like a healthy threshold, right? If within work in five number of consecutive health check is success, then it will say it is healthy, your system is healthy. Number of consecutive two time, right? It will two time, if it is failure, then it will say the target group is unhealthy, right? And timeout, if it will check for 6 second. If within 6 second is not responding, then it will say it is timeout, right? And the time interval, right? Time interval, it will check in within 30 second, right? Maximum 30 second. And success code, it will be between 200 to 399. So you can give any code number over here. I'm just giving by default. Tag, you can mention any tag if you want, because it will help you to see who is owning this services. Click next. And we have two machines, right? These web server, click both of them. If you have more web servers or other servers, you can tick all these servers, and it should be accessed through 80 port, and you can they include pending below. So once it is run, it is still pending, and then you can click on create target group. The target group is getting created, it is still unused, right? So let's go to the load balancer. Not able to access yet. Now you can see the web-tg is accessible. We have created web-tg here, right? Web-tg, and this is now accessible here, because it is not unused, right? Once we associate with the load balancer, it will either healthy or unhealthy, right? Listening tag, we don't want. Add listener, if you have more listeners, then you can add it, like which port you want to access. So I don't need it. Optional AWS global accelerator we will talk about later in different video. So let's leave it for now. This is done, configuration is done. This is the review summary. So the interfacing IP4 default security group, these are the security groups. Network mapping BPC, and the reason is AP South V1V, right? And listening route 80 port, right? Create load balancer and view load balancer, it is provisioning, right? So let's go and check the target group now. Refresh it and see, it is initial. Now it is initializing your system, and that it will try to check the health, whether it is working or not. If it is working, then it will come to healthy uh, mm, instance, otherwise it is unhealthy instance. If it is unhealthy instance, then we will check why it is not working, right? So let's wait for some time. So you can see one machine is now healthy. Let's wait for the other one. Yeah, now you can see both of the machines are healthy. Now go to the load balancer and get the URL. This is the DNS, right? This is the load balancer we have created, and this is the DNS. Copy this DNS name and print into the browser. Yeah, now you can see your load balancer is accessing from your Ubuntu box. It will hit your one of the Ubuntu box and other. So it has the two Ubuntu box, and the same application is hosted into each machine. And then we have the top of that we have the load balancer. That load balancer is accessing from both of the machine, and the routing algorithm is, you know, um, is round robin, where it will divide the load from one machine to another. One more thing I want to discuss, the security group, right? Let's go to the security group. That is important, otherwise sometimes it will not work. So I have given these two security group access to the load balancer, and this default this launch wizard is for the EC2 box, right? So let's see one by one. Edit inbound rule. If you see it, three inbound rule I have given. One is this security group, right? This security group and this security group. One of the security group is EC2 security group, because the EC2 security group should have access to load balancer, right? So we have to give all access to the security group also. So I have given the security group access to the load balancer, right? Similarly, we have to give the security group access to the EC2 machine. So once we have given these two security access, or if you can, this security group can assign to EC2, and this one, both will work, right? But sometimes what happens is the different security group is created for different resources. So like one security group is assigned to EC2, one security group is assigned to the load balancer, and both of the security groups should have access to each other so that they should work. So how you can assign the security group, I have shown you. Click on your security group, and click on your security group, and then edit inbound, and then add, and go to the all traffic, and this is the custom. This should be custom, and here you can SG. This is the security group, right? Web default launch. So if you are in load balancer and you want to access the EC2, this is the EC2 security group, then you have to select EC2. And if you are in EC2, then you have to select uh, the load balancer security group. Other than that, you can create more inbound rules. Right, this is the important point I want to discuss. Now our application is accessed. We have done the demo. Let's move to uh, the slide. We have gone through the demo and the concept how we can do that. Now this will end to our video. So thank you so much for watching my video. If you really like this video, then please like, share and subscribe. Also comment if you want to discuss with your topic. We'll definitely come back with some solution, and we'll definitely discuss. Thank you so much, and bye.